Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm a Don.
and this is our marvelous review of Venom. Let there be carnage.
So graphic.
Anything? Spoiler alert, guys. Just in case you haven't seen it yet, watch the movie, then come back, check out our review. Now, I know I say marvelous review. This is not part of the MCU, or is it? Actually, a Sony project, as was the first Venom film back in 2018. As we know right now, Sony owns all of Spider-Man's properties, be it Spider-Man, be it Venom, be it any offsprings like Morbius or Carnage or Into the Spider-Verse. Sony has all the rights, and they rent out Spider-Man Peter Parker for the MCU. Right off the bat, did you like it or not?
I liked it, not for the usual reasons. It was more of a comedy to me. I laughed a fair amount of time.
For me, the movie was worth it just for the end credits.
Yeah, a lot
The
of
end
people say
credits.
that the end credits is what stole the show. And it's the simplest the concept, and it really did steal the show.
The movie itself was like a relationship film.
100%. It was the odd couple relationship film. I was laughing with my friends because we're talking about it's like they need some serious marriage counseling, and there's definitely a destructive and almost chaotic nature to their relationship because they are in a codependent relationship, but at the same time they're in a relationship that is just degrades. It gets destructive. That like Venom destroys stuff around him, yet he does work for Eddie, and Eddie kind of mooches off of that, and Eddie gets lazy in a sense of worth and work, so he has self-pity, and Venom kind of like puts him down. And now that I'm thinking about it, like Venom's kind of a narcissist. He's like, you need me, Eddie. Like, what were you? You were a loser before me. You couldn't do this without me. I did this for you. I brought this to you. And Eddie's like just letting it happen.
That's the problem because in the first film, Eddie was good as a reporter.
But that's one of the things about like a destructive relationship like that is that it breaks you down. You start to believe the things that happen. So that's an interesting dynamic. I would love to see a therapist actually analyze the two of them. Like watch the movie and be like, I want to analyze this because I feel like that's what we were watching. It's comedic, yes, but then we're like, if you really look at it, like they have a very toxic relationship between each other.
Oh, I would know. I would know.
Me too. That's why I'm calling it out now. It's like I've seen those qualities. I've been in there, and
Right.
it's not pleasant. I mean, as far as that goes, I thought that was like the best dynamic and the best thing that carried the film. Action wise, I think the first movie had better action than this one. I mean, the fight scene between Carnage and Venom was better than him and Riot overall, but as far as action goes, I think the action in the first movie was better. Everything that
Most
was
of the
action was with Carnage, actually.
I think they focus more on the relationship aspect of Eddie and Venom, and they left the action towards Carnage. And
Cletus Cassidy,
I like here too, they have two villains, or three. Yeah, Cassidy, Carnage, and
Shriek.
played by Naomi Harris. She was awesome. She was good. I didn't like her choice of voice because it was so annoying, but I like her look. You know, I mean, this whole story is about relationship. You have the relationship between Eddie and Venom. You have the relationship with Eddie, Venom, and Anne. You have Anne and the fiance. You have the relationship with Eddie and Cassidy. Cassidy with Harris. Even though how evil Cassidy was, his soft spot was Harris, because Harris and him could relate. They had a bond like Carnage and Cassidy had a bond.
True.
But it was a different type of bond. What about love, where him and Carnage was about destruction.
Well, in the movie, not so much, but in the comics, yes.
For me, you know more than I do. I really don't know about Carnage. I don't know about. All I know about Carnage is that him and Venom and Spider-Man in the comics, they fought, and a piece of Venom fell on someone else, and that became Carnage. Am I wrong on that?
Yes, essentially. So basically, in the comic, Eddie was already captured and in jail. He was locked up in jail with Cletus Cassidy. That was his cellmate. What happened was the symbiote Venom came back to rescue Eddie out of jail. But at the same time, it spawned a new symbiote and left it behind. And that new symbiote bonded itself to Cletus Cassidy. It wasn't due to a battle or like a piece being torn off. It was part of his natural gestation period of, breeding kind of situation. They're asexual. They breed on their own. I don't want to say it's like completely canon, but a lot of people say it was because the symbiote felt abandoned by Venom being its father, and that's why it kind of bonded with Cletus as far as it was. I think it was just because Cletus was just so crazy that the bonding, it made the symbiote go as crazy as him, because he gained the attributes, and Cletus is completely insane. It bonded so well he wouldn't refer to himself as we. It's I. He's like, I am Carnage. They were essentially one and the same, one being, and was to the point you think you killed the symbiote, but it was actually in his bloodstream. So every time he injured himself, the symbiote would come out. And then it wasn't until Cletus Cassidy was actually killed, and then we realized the symbiote is actually its own entity. And so Cletus is dead, and then Carnage lived on his own and started bonding with others and became its own personality. But none of that was what happened here. No. That was a whole different storyline, not used in this movie. In this movie, it wasn't like Venom left something behind. Cletus bit Eddie, and it was Venom's blood. So theoretically, all of Eddie's blood could potentially make more symbiotes, it doesn't make no sense, because he bit Eddie's hand red, wiped the blood, and he looked at his fingers and he saw it moving, and then he swallowed it.
We saw that earlier when he was telling his story on the postcard, that he smashed a spider, licked the blood of the spider. He's like a kid, a baby that will put anything in his mouth.
Very much.
The scene stealers in this, Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson, their acting was underused.
Well, Tom Hardy was the one, he got to shine a lot more in the sense as his dynamic with talking to himself and playing off of that broken couple part. So Tom Hardy got to shine in that area. Woody Harrelson, 100%, I agree, was underused. People wanted natural born killers, Woody Harrelson.
But what I'm saying is they didn't really go through the bonding with Cassidy and Carnage, just like they didn't do the bonding in the first film of Venom with Drake and Riot. Personally, what I'd like to have seen, if they gave us 5-10 minutes of them really trying to figure out each other, that would have been kind of cool to see. I do like how the animation showing how evil Cassidy was, and how is written on the card that he uses the trimming. Some of the dialogue is done by pictures instead of just words, so you kind of, it's a mixture of the Roman language and then art, done back in the day.
Yeah,
I did like that. I was like, holy crap, he is evil incarnated. I was like, holy crap. And the thing was, he was resurrected. They saved him. He was meant to die. He was supposed to be dead or stillborn, but they resurrected him, and they're punished for resurrecting him. I still have a problem with Anne, Michelle Williams' character. She played it a little down.
Oh, what about when she was flirting with Venom?
That was funny in the sense of what Dan was doing. It's like, hey, hello, I'm right here.
Oh, and that was great when he was just insulting Dan through the lady. Does not like Dan.
Regardless that they bumped heads and they separated and had that big elaborate fight, Venom was still connected to Eddie in one way or another, in the sense of he's still loyal. And that's Eddie's girl. Screw you for loving her too, or loving her better.
If I want Carnage, give it they are. I talk to people, a lot of people are like, oh no, it's fine being PG-13. I agree for what it was fine. I wanted more scenes of Carnage. If they, took away some of the scenes where he's doing the dynamic, and they gave more scenes to chew up with Woody Harrelson, and Woody, even if he doesn't turn into Carnage, actually kills more characters on screen, that would have been whoa. I mean, they're trying to get the kid audience. I get that. And the cartoons was more savage to this Carnage. They had Carnage in the Spider-Man cartoon, and his character was attacking the police, flipping trucks, well, he did that all here, but he was taking hostages. The army's attacking him, and he's destroying tanks, and he's just laughing and having fun.
Gotta have that Carnage.
There's moments where he does take hostages, but then he kills them afterwards. But he's reveling in the destruction that he's doing, and I did not get that. I didn't get the fact that he's reveling in his destruction. He's just I'm doing this to make a means to an end. I want to kill a Venom. I want to free Shriek. I want to kill Eddie. That kind of thing.
He did kind of revel in it after he rescues Shriek, the helicopter. It's oh, that too. Jesus Christ. They're firing at the car, but not at the car. They're firing as if it was a person standing at his feet. You have two known killers shoot the car to stop them, but they're shooting at the road.
Maybe they weren't
Really?
game.
You know, and then if it hits the car, then you see the Carnage coming out and destroy the helicopter because it's trying to survive. But I think it reveled initially when the cops came to the facility, and he reveled too when he killed the doctor and some of the guards while he was rescuing Shriek. But it missed the mark. Venom 1 was better story and ride in comparison to this.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Story wise, it was a better item actually.
And I can understand where Shriek wanted to kill the cop because of what he did to her. But with Eddie and Cassidy, it was like Cassidy wanted Brock because he felt betrayed. And I couldn't understand why Cassidy really wanted to kill Brock. Was he because he was betrayed because he didn't get a friend that he was seeking?
I understand where you're getting at, and I mean, that's the only thing I can theorize. Because he kept going back to Brock. He said, it's like, I saw a lot of myself in you, Brock. We're both broken. We both had these issues. We both are lonely guys. Yeah, I could see that. It's weird, but I could see that. What did you like?
Where they go to meet Carnage. Venom sees Carnage like, oh shit, we gotta go. No, forget it. No, he's red.
And they never talk about that. They never, not in the first movie or in the second movie, did they ever address the meaning of the color.
Why was he eating the brain or eating the heads?
Well, that part they did address, but they never mentioned the color thing.
They just say this red is bad.
Right. He goes, oh, he's a red one. Nope. And he's like, we're going to die 100%. And it's the same thing that he said with Riot, too, in the first one. Because in the first one, he goes, Riot is what you call a team leader. It means he has a lot of skill sets that we don't have. And he's like, what's our percentage? 0. We're going to die. It's the same thing here. He's like, he's a red one. We're going to die.
Like I said in our review on Venom, it reminded me of Hulk again. Especially that part where he was like, I'm hiding. He didn't want to come out. Just like Hulk didn't want to come out in Endgame. I'm sorry, not Endgame, but Infinity War, sorry.
Well, even at that, he was like, screw Ange. He's like, well, we tried. We couldn't win her over, and we can find another one.
Brock had to make a deal with him. You can eat whoever you want here, except for the father. We didn't mention it in the first review, or the review of the first Venom, that he has a spider sense in a way.
He does.
You don't call it, he just knows, like, don't open the door. Don't go there. Like he knows something's happening, about to happen, and he knows about where. When I see a fight like of superheroes in a church, I always think of Daredevil with Ben Affleck and Colin Farrell. Even X-Men 2, they're in a church when they fight Nightcrawler. That's just me.
I think of like Batman, the first movie, the Clock Tower. But
with Michael Keaton, right? Well, especially with the bells they used here. But yeah,
the first fight scene. Let's talk about that because that's the prison break. I was okay with it, except for a couple things. One, I didn't get the idea of why he shoved the tongue down to the guard's mouth. It made no sense to me.
He probably did that to make it more personal,
I guess. And then the warden scene. He turns himself into a tornado.
But why?
That's why I'm asking. It's like, number one, what is this Tasmanian devil cartoonish stuff that's going on? Because that's not something he does. He doesn't spin around fast and fast to make a little whirlwind hurricane tornado and travel around.
This movie was directed by Andy Serkis. You know him as Gollum. We know him as Snook from the sequels of the Star Wars. Caesar from Planet of the Apes. Maybe that was his directorial choice.
It was a poor choice.
I think so too.
Like literally, Carnage will use his tendrils and drill holes into the heads of some of his victims and control them like puppets. If he did something like that with the tongue, I would have been okay with that. We did not see as much carnage, really. When they're like, let there be carnage, and he got out, it was very clean. It wasn't Carnage that we were seeing. He had a goal, like, let me get my girlfriend now. Okay, I can get down with this, but let there be carnage all the way while you're getting your girlfriend. He tosses a truck for the fun of it, but that's it.
I can't disagree with you. And then the whole side story of Venom trying to find himself and feel appreciated, and he going to that nightclub, and
that was funny.
Was it?
He's like, we love you. He's like, I love you too.
But was it needed?
No, it wasn't needed.
It actually looked kind of cool because it had like a bob, like he kind of looked like the Pit from Image. Was it Image Comics?
Yeah, Image Comics,
where he had the chains on his wrists, his forearms, and he has some kind of stuff around.
For y'all that don't know the Pit, it's the equivalent of like you take the look of Venom and Hulk, and they had a love child. The only thing is, it wasn't a symbiote in the traditional sense. He was like mentally bonded to a child. But basically, he was like the Hulk and Lobo combined with like some Venom attributes.
And then he goes, I think, things like, "Oh, Eddie, I wish you were here to hear them." It's a love story.
The other thing I got from it is that Venom kept putting down Eddie and trying to get all these accolades out of Eddie because Eddie was gaining the credit for the work that Venom was doing. And we all agree at this stage, or at least I agree, he's narcissistic. So the fact that he's gaining these accolades, he's narcissistic, and he wants the person that he was close to that he was technically abusing at the same time.
Well, it's like any relationship, right? You're getting somewhere else what you wish you were getting at home.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot about the brain thing. There's a chemical in our brain that sustains him.
Yes.
But also could be found in chocolate.
But he prefers the brains.
And we see that in a battle in the church where Carnage eats the priest's head and he gets bigger.
Not
he
supposed
gets,
to work that way, but granted,
but
yeah. Because he's eating other characters. Like he ate other people's heads and he never grow bigger. He stays the same size. I want to say that's more of an attribute of maybe the red ones.
Maybe. Church battle. When Anne almost fell down and Eddie and Venom grabbed her, did that remind you of Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No, it didn't remind me of that, but that was also kind of like a church-like scene. And it was a factory, but I could see where that was supposed to be going that route. There's an Easter egg around that scene, but it's not with her.
What's that?
The detective. Because I know you're a little bit behind on the Venom things in the comics. So that is actually the son of Carnage. So each generation is going to be a little bit stronger than the next, but he's like certain percentage like number. And so he's like insanely strong. In the comics, Venom and Carnage teamed up to try to kill him.
Gotcha. Too coincidental or lazy writing, if you will, where the detective is the same guy who shot her way back when. I was like, really? I was just too on the nose. It's just too coincidental. I was like, it would just been nice if, like, say it wasn't him. It could have been like a partner. He was there, or not the same exact guy.
Like, it's not like Eddie Brock hasn't been involved with other police officers or whatnot. Like, there could have been easily other characters they could have tied it with.
Okay, this makes no sense. At the end of the battle at the church, where everything goes to shit, and Cassie falls from the top of the church onto his back on rubble. How the hell do you get up?
What didn't Eddie get up to?
Yeah, but he was Venom.
Oh, that's true. No, didn't Venom picked him up?
Picked who up?
Cassidy.
No, Cassie was sat up to reach for Carnage, and then Venom took Carnage and ate him and put him back into himself.
I have no idea.
He is smashed. His bones are broken. He fell on broken rock and he got up. No, he would not be able to get up. I'm sorry. From 10 stories, wherever how high that church is, down. I do find it sad that Shriek. I keep saying Screech. Saved by the Bell, but who wasn't at this one? Who wasn't Saved by the Bell was taken down. Carnage is trying to take her out because she is a threat, because she could destroy him with her voice.
And and that's the thing, that the fact that they made the argument that, oh, they're not in perfect symbiosis, or they're not a team, and I was like, that was the thing that made Carnage. I mean, granted, Carnage is insane and whatnot, but that was the thing that made him intriguing as a villain character of that nature. He's so insane that he's multiple entities. It's like being diagnosed with multiple personalities. They all function at the same time, and you just identify yourself as one person. It's like, but you're not switching. You're just functioning all in unison. So it is, which is like not supposed to happen. You might as well be the one person at that stage. But in this case, Cassidy was that insane that the symbiote and him just like synced up that much. There was no difference between the two. Like even Riot in the first movie had a better sync than Cassidy and Carnage did.
I agree.
If I had a choice, I would have flipped that dynamic. I would have gave synchronicity that they gave Riot in the first movie. I would have gave that to Carnage. It would have made more logical sense in that area, knowing what we know based on the combo characters. And like I knew Cletus had a thing with Shriek, but even in the comics, like he was like, I'm not going to sacrifice everything for her. He's a sociopath. He does what he wants. Cared about like destruction and like as his namesake, Carnage, more than anybody else. That was his true love.
Wasn't it a little bit on the nose that he called it Carnage? And it says, like, how does he know the name is Carnage?
I want to say he named it.
Possibly. But also, how did he get into that cell?
They kind of do explain that. So when he was in the jail breaking out, like you see his body split apart in the middle so that the bullets would shoot right through. So the level... And this is a thing in the comics too. The level of shapeshifting that Carnage has is very, very powerful. So like his body will actually become more thin and he'll be
Okay.
tall, but he'll be more thin than his actual host body. So, and he's been known to do those kind of shape shifting things depending on your storyline. Took it with a grain of salt that he could just like, oh, now he just can become like a puddle of goo, like the T-1000, and just flipping through cracks.
Let's go to the end credits, shall we? To me, it was the highlight of the whole damn film. It told us so many things. One of them is Venom is coming to the MCU.
It's either
And
that
so is
or it's just in the Spider-Man movie, but the hope is that he's coming to the MCU.
they're at this hotel, and Venom was about to
Share a glimpse
tell.
of knowledge.
We come to find out that a Nexus event happened. It could be because of what we see in the previews of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Also, it could be argued that it could be done because of Loki or
Kang, he that shall remain, and
Wanda,
Sylvie.
or hell, it could even be tied to What If at this stage.
They wake up or whatever, like, what the hell was that? We see J. Jonah Jameson exposing Peter Parker. I cheered. Some other people did too in the theater.
Yeah, a lot of people in the theater were like, packed theater, mind you. That was the moment everybody got up in the theater. So everybody was super hyped. Just the moment Spider-Man was on the screen without no dialogue beyond that point, people were hyped.
It seemed weird, like Venom, like, oh, I want him.
Well, there's two things I can think of about that. So one, Eddie's kind of giving him, after the whole Carnage thing, he's giving him a little bit more leeway about who he can eat. So he's like, we're going to go try that lethal protector thing. You can have some brains, but they have to be bad guys. And J. Jonah is advertising Spider-Man as a bad
guy.
This renowned criminal found out now to be Peter Parker. Da 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 da. Perfect. You know, he's like serving up a commercial for like the next Red Lobster meal. That's one thing that's my personal opinion about it. I mentioned Rob at Comics Explained before, and he was talking about how he thinks it's because Venom mentions the hive mind. And Venom mentions the multiverse. When they were sitting on the bed before everything changed, Venom is talking to Eddie, and he goes, it would melt your mind if you knew about the 80 billion years of multiverse knowledge that the hive mind has collected. What Rob and that his channel said was that he has an idea that if they share a hive mind, then maybe he remembers the Venom from Tobey's universe. Now, the other thing is, a lot of people are thinking, so does that mean that Venom's going to be in Spider-Man 3, or that they're going to do Spider-Man and Venom 3? People were hoping that Venom makes an appearance in Spider-Man.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just too coincidental to have that, and then Spider-Man's coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be wrong. They could have you. I don't think it'll be a team up. Well, maybe. There may be a team up because you'll find out that he's not a bad guy, so they may team up.
Especially if he has the hive mind thing, probably already knows Spider-Man's a good guy.
They'll probably work together to take down the Sinister Six.
They got Lizard, Electro, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Vulture, and either Scorpion, Shocker, or Rhino potentially to pull back.
Rhino may be
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
One of my friends is like, he just wants to see Paul Giamatti dust off the suit of Rhino and be that again. Or they may scrap that all together and have Venom be the sixth member.
Maybe, and then we'll see if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be in it, even though they're denying it.
They're going to be in it, that's for sure.
Knowing that most likely make an appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home, the previews now give a different meaning, especially when Peter is on the roof of the car and he transforms in Iron Spider-Man. Is it Doc Ock? Is it Green Goblin? Is it Venom? Is it Vulture? Let's go to our ratings.
You want to go first?
Yeah. As multi-fun?
You going multi-fun?
Maybe. I would watch it if it's like double feature. Okay, go ahead, yours.
I'm going to go multi-fun too. It made me laugh a lot more than in the first movie. I said it before, oddly enough, to me this felt more like a comedy based on that relationship that they were having. Because a lot of good comedies will have very comical moments, and then they'll have a climax serious moment. And that could be at the end, or it could be in the middle, and they build around that. So I'm like, I just watched a action comedy. That's what I watched. Rewatching the first one and then watching What Ifs and whatnot, I'm being more forgiving. Doesn't mean I like it, but like if this came on my TV, I would watch this again.
Okay. You think they'll do a part 3?
I think now that people know about the end credit scene,
you think Anti-Venom will come up?
If they do Anti-Venom without Flash Thompson was in the ex-military, lost his legs, saving someone else's life. Originally, Anti-Venom was Eddie Brock. Then it got passed on to Flash Thompson. And now there's another version of Scream which is now called Silence, which is like a mutated version of Scream.
I'm so confused right now.
You don't even know about Null, the symbiote god.
We didn't mention him, our Shang-Chi review. Is he related to Madame?
They're not related. So Madam Web is more like a very powerful future reading psychic. Null, he existed when there was no light in the universe. And then when the Celestials came in and they started bringing in light and life, he basically got pissed off. He's like your teenage self that when like mom comes in and turns on the lights or opens the blinds, all of a sudden you're like, why? That was him. But instead of us just having that fit at that one moment and just letting that happen, he goes on war with the Celestials, creates the Necro Sword, which is used by Gore the God Butcher, who you will see in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Is that played by Christian Bale?
Yes. So the weapon that Christian Bale's character uses was originally the sword that belonged to Null, and all his powers is from that sword. That's how powerful it is. Like his weapon alone was powerful enough to do this. He fought like not one, but multiple Celestials. And he eventually lost because of another kind of symbiote that's like on a opposite spectrum. There was a whole King in Black storyline that like shows him coming to Earth to kill Eddie Brock and take Eddie Brock's son Dylan, because Dylan has symbiote mind control abilities as well. Long story short, we find out who was the one that defeated Null originally. It was the Unipower. Cosmic Spider-Man. Remember Cosmic Spider-Man?
Kind of, sort of. You mean the bands? The Quasar? Nova?
No. I'm talking about, there was a thing that was running in the comics for the longest time where you'll have like a cosmic version of every character. And it was like Captain Universe power. So the power would just manifest and it was like this glowing light, and it would just show up and attach itself to them. Everybody thought it was just like something that was happening. Turns out it's like the light version of the symbiote. It would actually attach itself. Enigma Force, that's what it was called. In the comics, the Enigma Force bonded itself with Eddie Brock to fight Null. Eddie Brock summons Silver Surfer's surfboard, who is fighting Null. He summons Thor's hammer, like out their hands. They couldn't stop it. Grabs them both, smashes them together, and makes his own weapon. And then he proceeds to kill Null. Like he takes the mantle of the new symbiote god. In the process, Flash is resurrected.
Oh my God, this is way too much. Hope they don't do this in the comics.
I'll send you a link of some that recaps it.
Oh my God.
It's insane.
Sounds insane. Let's wrap this up. Okay, guys, that was our take on Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Make sure you make a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on it. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, also the like button, to be notified when our next review will be coming up. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adon.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.